Hey, this is Demetrius Flowers, and this is video 4 in my series, This Is My Story. At the conclusion of video 3, I left off talking about something that special that had happened in my life that had given me a different outlook on what could be possible in my life for the future. And that thing that happened to me was around the age of 7 or 8. As I told you, I was having a really difficult time at home, having a really rough time with my stepfather. And at some point, my granddad decided to step in and send for me to come and stay with him in Georgia. And it completely transformed my life as it relates to how I was thinking about myself, thinking about my future and my worth at that time. I came down and I spent almost 3 years with my grandfather until he passed. And unfortunately, myself and my cousin came home from school and found him dead. He had died of cancer. But that's a whole nother story. I had an amazing grandfather, and he was that father figure, that motivational I guess, fuel that I needed at that time to realize that, you know something, there is something special about myself, and that I was put here for a reason, and that where I was or had come from didn't have to be who I ended up being. It didn't have to be the end of my story. And my grandfather was a type that he would talk to you over and over and over again. And a lot of those talks at the time I didn't appreciate. I didn't realize that those things that he was speaking was actually, he was speaking life into me. That he was giving me, laying a foundation for me mentally, not necessarily so much from I guess a standpoint of making sure that I never had any financial worries or anything like that. But mentally, he was laying a foundation so I could go out and create the life that I wanted. And I didn't understand it at the time, but I think that he did. And he would always talk to me about dreaming and making sure that you were constantly dreaming, constantly challenging yourself. And he spoke to me from a perspective of having succeeded and failed in his life. And some of the biggest failures that he talked to me about was those where he had a dream, he had a vision for his life, he had these desires that were in his heart, and how he didn't give them the attention that they deserved. He never truly went after those things that were on his heart for what he wanted for his life. And he constantly beat that into me because I know that he didn't want me to feel the same way. Just to take you back, a little story that he shared with me the week that he passed, he called me in, and I had a favorite sports show that I loved at the time called the George Michael Sports Machine. And it was on, and he called me and told me to turn the television off and come to his room. And so I was a little upset, but when I got back there, he told me to turn the television on there, and he just sat and started speaking to me about what it is that you want to do with your life. And he had asked me these questions time and time again. And so we just I went through a series of where we had these talks, and I wasn't really able to answer them. But on this day I did. I told him what it was that I wanted to do with my life, and he challenged me to not just accomplish that thing, but to go further beyond, to go way beyond, and to think so much broader. And I didn't realize it at the time, but he told me that night that he wasn't going to make it through the week, and he didn't. And I believe that he was just sharing, on that night he shared with me something that was near and dear to his heart, was that he wanted to go into the ministry. That was his dream. He really wanted to go into the ministry. He loved the Lord and loved the Word. And for whatever reason, and he didn't go into any detail, and I'm thinking maybe it was because I was so young. Maybe he just didn't feel like that was really important for why he didn't. But just to point out that he did not chase after that dream, and that at the end of his life, and this is what he was sharing with me, at the end of his life, he wasn't so much looking back on and thinking about the successes he had in life, but he was pondering and thinking about those things that were dreams that he wanted for his life, that he hadn't chased after, that he hadn't given the attention that he believed they deserved, hadn't allowed outside forces and factors to kill those dreams for him. And that's what he spoke to me about on that night. And so at the time, again, I didn't understand quite how amazing those conversations were, or how much that story would change my life. But today I realized that, I was blessed to be in a position where I had that opportunity to be able to be with him and speak with him, and for him to be able to pour that into me. Because those are the things that now I think about when I am making decisions on chasing after my dreams and going after life. See, I don't want to end up like my grandfather. I don't want to be on my deathbed thinking back about how my life didn't turn out because of the things that I didn't go after, that were dreams, things that I think are just going to stay with us because they were with him, even up to the day that he passed. And so I don't want that for my life, and I know he doesn't want that for me. And so that was, I think, the real shift mentally for me, that, something, this life is so short. It's going to be over in a flicker, and before we know it, it'll be done. And the last thing you want to do is be looking back and pondering with this heavy heart as you get ready to leave this earth about not going after your dreams and goals. And so if I can leave you with anything for video 4, it's this: don't allow the negative thoughts that may come into your mind that are playing with your desires and your dreams. Don't allow outside forces, the negative voices of others. Many times the people that are the closest to us are the ones who pull us down. And so a lot of times it's subconsciously, but sometimes they know what they're doing. But don't allow that to stop you from chasing after your dreams. If you have a desire to be more than what you are, go after it. Because at the end of this thing, that's all that matters. That's all that's going to be on your heart. That's all that's going to be on your mind, is what did you do to go after what it is that you actually wanted in this life. And so that's my video for today. That's video 4, and this is my story. Come on back for video 5. I promise I'm going to continue to get a little bit more in-depth about who it is that I am and why it is that I'm doing what I'm doing as I chase after my dreams and goals for my family. As always, I hope you've gotten something out of this, and I'll talk to you later.